Hey everyone! Welcome back to SCUM for Beginners. Early on in your SCUM journey, your character is probably going to die a lot. That's very normal as you learn the game. If you have the right materials on hand, you may be able to save yourself from death's door. Today, we're going to talk about healing injuries. Let's begin by talking about wounds. There are 3 phases of an injury: untreated, stabilization, and recovery. During the untreated phase, your character will experience health effects that can increase in severity over time and hinder your character's ability to function normally. Once treated, wounds will go through a stabilization phase. If you overexert yourself during this period, you risk reopening your character's wounds and requiring further treatment. Any adverse effects experienced as a result of the injury will slowly begin to improve. I highly recommend finding a safe place during this phase to lay down, as this will help your character move into recovery. In the recovery phase, you will be able to move more freely without risking re-injury, and symptoms from the injury will continue to improve. There are 4 stages of wound severity. However, where your injury starts on that scale depends on how bad the wound is. Just like treatment for a paper cut is significantly different than treatment for a gunshot, SCUM places injuries on a scale from 1 to 4, with 1 being the lowest and 4 being the highest. This scale determines how much treatment is required, how urgently medical attention is needed, and how much your character is impacted by the symptoms of the injury. C1 injuries typically go away on their own, even if you're bleeding. Your movement won't be restricted much, and healing time is fairly quick. C2 injuries require treatment, but you have some time before your character's health starts to decline. If left untreated, your character will eventually die. C3 injuries require treatment, and you will have less time than a C2 wound before your character eventually succumbs to their injuries. C4 injuries will result in character death without immediate attention. This is highlighted by the presence of a skull on the wound bar. You have very little time to treat these types of wounds before your character dies, and your movement and ability to perform actions will be severely restricted. Now let's talk about healing. To heal a wound, navigate to the Health tab and click on the condition you want to treat. Now choose the medical items from your inventory that you want to use to treat the ailment. As you select healing items, you will notice a white outline begin to form around the injury bar. In order to successfully treat a wound, this outline needs to be full. Higher medical skills lower the amount of items needed to treat injuries, as does the type of healing item being used. If an untreated wound is exposed to dirty clothes, or if an enemy with poor hygiene, such as a puppet, causes the wound, you run the risk of the wound becoming contaminated. Contaminated wounds are highlighted by a bacteria icon. Once a wound reaches 100% contamination, it will get infected. Infections move through the same scale of severity as a wound. The higher the severity of the infection, the greater impact on the character's health. If left untreated, your character will die from infection. You can treat a wound with rags, disinfected rags, or emergency bandages. Rags are the least effective, and therefore you will require more of them to successfully treat a wound. They are also more likely to contaminate a wound and result in infection. Disinfected rags are just regular rags that have been disinfected with a strong alcohol, such as vodka or whiskey. They are more effective than regular rags and less likely to contaminate a wound. To craft disinfected rags, select the disinfectant in your inventory, and then right-click on the rag. Select Disinfect from the menu. Emergency bandages are the most effective in treating wounds and the least likely to cause contamination. To reduce the risk of wound contamination, treat wounds with sterile medical items such as disinfected rags and emergency bandages. You can also apply a strong alcohol directly to the wound. Finally, it's recommended to remove any dirty clothing that can come in direct contact with the wound. Your Health tab will indicate where on the body the wound is inflicted to help with identifying which items of clothing to remove. If you find yourself with an infection, you can treat it with garlic or antibiotics. As you may guess, antibiotics are more effective in treating infection than garlic. The stronger the infection, the more medication required to treat it. While medical supplies are scattered throughout the island, a good place to look is at pharmacies or any of the medical traders. Now that you know how to treat injuries, you are better equipped to survive another day. Good luck, and see you on SCUM Island!